Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to a new episode of Cut to Movies with Vivek and Viru. Just before we dive in, we'd like to give you a disclaimer that this episode is filled with spoilers. So please do watch the film first. Unless, of course, you don't have an issue with spoilers, in which case.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cut to with Vivek and Biru. And today we are in Germany, and this is a fun movie that we watched that landed on Netflix some time back. And Vivek will tell you all about it.
So today we discuss this German film called Blood Red Sky, directed by Peter Thorwarth. It's a film about terrorists hijacking an overnight transatlantic flight, a mysteriously ill woman, her son, and an Arab man mistaken as a terrorist. I know it's too much to take, but once you watch it, it'll all start making sense, or maybe not.
So, इसका ना when I looked at the trailer itself, I said कि ये तो picture देखना ही है boss. And I think it's not such a big reveal here that the woman is a vampire, because they used that plot in all their marketing material. So they didn't hide it, and it was not like a big reveal. Yeah, maybe in the way they made the film, initially you really don't know what is her problem. But धीरे धीरे you realize that okay, there's something wrong with her, and वहाँ पे एक हो सकता है, if you have not seen the marketing at all and you just watch the movie, then you might be a little surprised, and that could be like if you just think that it's a hostage drama and a mom is going to save her son and that kind of a film, then you will be like in for a pleasant surprise. It might just have like the effect that the film Dusk to Dawn had on me, because from Dusk to Dawn I really didn't know when I actually started watching so many years ago that it was going to turn into a vampire drama in the second half. Like first half तो चिल कुछ तो चल रहा है, एक्शन टाइप का है, ये लोग बार में है, कुछ तो चल रहा है, सडनली ये क्या हो गया, वैम्पायर्स कहाँ से आ गए? लाइक इट वाज लाइक अ जॉनर बेंडर लाइक नथिंग दैट आई हैव एवर सीन. एंड ये भी वैसा ही, आई मीन द डायरेक्टर सेज दैट ही वाज काइंड ऑफ इंस्पायर्ड बाय दैट फिल्म आल्सो, एंड ही हैड एन आइडिया इन माइंड, बट दैट फिल्म आल्सो ओपनड हिज माइंड टू समथिंग लाइक दिस, एंड देन ही रोट लाइक द फर्स्ट स्क्रिप्ट.
When the woman is being kind of doing the FaceTiming with her doctor in some other region, you kind of tend to believe that chalo she must be suffering from cancer or some kind of a disease. But all of a sudden that entire premise of the film gives in the aeroplane when one realizes that a vampire is held hostage. I mean that part was really interesting to see, a vampire being held hostage. It was always the other way around, the vampire holding victims, but here the vampire is like the victim. So it was it was an interesting premise for sure to kind of reveal itself.
Like snakes on a plane है, ये vampires on a plane है, vampire लेकिन but vampire versus
terrorists है.
And the vampire is actually the good person. so that's interesting. Trying to save her kid, which is like the emotional arc of the film. When I started watching it, मैं बोला कि इसमें कुछ लॉजिक ज़्यादा देखूंगा नहीं. So mindset itself was like that. क्योंकि ऐसे जब भी मैं वैम्पायर और ज़ॉम्बी फिल्म देखता हूँ तो मैं I suspend like all logic, and then I say okay, ठीक है, जो चल रहा है वो चल रहा है. तो इसके लिए I was having fun. बट वही है, थोड़ा ना मतलब हाफ टाइम के बाद इट बिकम्स लाइक अच्छा अभी तो मतलब और फाइट होगा, लाइक देयर आर नाइस इंटरेस्टिंग सीक्वेंसेस, बट द थिंग इज इट वाज अ लिटिल टू लॉन्ग. मतलब अगर मेरे को लगता है और 15-20 मिनट भी कम हो जाता ना तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता पिक्चर में.
If it would have been shorter, perhaps it would have been even more gripping. I feel it didn't require all that backstory and the multiple subplots of the woman. I mean, you mentioned Snakes on a Plane, right? If that film was entirely based in that aeroplane, and as viewers we only realize that she's a vampire when they take off. And what happens next is everything that happens at 22,000 feet. Imagine, it would make for such a brilliant film, and without creating this whole emotional connect with the character first of all, and then between the mother and the child. I think all of that was creating too much of a hassle.
हाँ, मतलब if you have shown like a mom and a child, you already have shown that there is a connection, right? तो इतना जो बैक स्टोरी में जा रहे हो कि वो कैसे वैम्पायर बनी और फिर उसको कितना ट्रबल हुआ टू रेज हिम, वो सब का जरूरत नहीं था. यू आर राइट. वो मतलब इट डिडंट ऐड टू द प्लॉट एट ऑल. हर थिंग इज शी डजंट वांट इट टू स्प्रेड, right? She doesn't. That's her. Matlab, obviously she has to save her child, but she also doesn't want it to spread at all costs, right? And that is what she's trying to save. And for that they built a story पीछे जहाँ पे she goes back, like whoever has bitten her उसको, और वो father का उसका dialogue होता है कि this is a whatever disease that should not spread and he's trying to kill her. तो वो पॉइंट का जरूरी नहीं था. मतलब वही, it should have just been fun.
I mean, as viewers we know that we don't need more vampires in this world, so we don't need to be told that this evil should not spread. I mean, it's just redundant information.
It took itself too seriously, like you had told me earlier. And yeah, that is true. वो करना नहीं चाहिए था. वो बैक स्टोरी का कोई मतलब नहीं था. I think ना उसका I think this would have been like rewritten क्योंकि उसका जो पहला, with the interview that I read, he said कि when I started off it was a much more fun film, okay, and then he kind of, I think वो भी एक दो अलग अलग प्रोडक्शन हाउसेस में जाके first was with Universal in for a very long time. तो वहां पे ना आई थिंक वो रीराइटिंग करते करते इट वुड हैव बीन, अच्छा चलो मदर और सन का आर्क थोड़ा बढ़ाते हैं. So maybe external influences made the film a little more serious than what he wanted it to be earlier. Correct. And अगर वो ऐसा fun thought में ही निकाला होता, this could have been a different ride. But even as a genre enthusiast, एक दो चीज मेरे को नहीं समझा रहे. ये सब vampire बना है, right? First, initially, I mean, he wanted to make it a vampire thing, but it almost feels like he wants to make it like a disease, right? वो disease जैसे spread होता है ना, virus. वैसा वो कुछ उसने एलिमेंट डालने का सोचा कि लेट्स मेक इट अ लिटिल मोर बिलीवेबल, राइट, एंड लेट्स नॉट कीप इट मोर फैंटास्टिक. तो which was not required. And the second part was, damn, she has a reflection, dude. Vampire cannot have a reflection. यार वो तो बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आया मेरे को. ये क्या फालतूगिरी है.
In this film, they have also tried to inject some kind of humor at various points of time, but I think the punchlines didn't land at a lot of times, and I feel I keep going back to how full marks to attempt a different kind of a treatment to a genre that has been done. But if I go back, like thinking of how Zombieland did not take itself seriously, and you, at least throughout the film, you're laughing at zombies because they're just inherently funny. Or if you see something like Train to Busan, which was like a complete horror zombie flick, post-apocalyptic, and that also had like a very emotional story about the father and the child and the husband and the wife.
That was a much deeper film in terms of how does a human react to a situation where it's almost like a choice between you and others.
Correct.
That was the dilemma that they showed brilliantly in Train to Busan. That was like a amazing film to another level. Like here, वो वाला feeling मतलब लाने का कोशिश किया. कुछ people are selfish, but then वो मतलब वो इतने सारे चीजें आ रही थी ना, या जैसे इसका Train to Busan का एलिमेंट्स आ रहा है, zombie और वैसा सब हो रहा है, वो खिचड़ी हो रहा है, उसमें कुछ पक नहीं रहा है बराबर. हाँ, लेकिन एक दो वो जैसे वो फन कैरेक्टर मतलब डाल दिया था वो लोग ने. दिस ओवर द टॉप विलन, लाइक क्रेजी टू अनदर लेवल. उसको तो मतलब वैम्पायर देखकर भी कुछ डर नहीं लगता. इनफैक्ट वो बोलता है कि इसका खून ले लेता हूँ ताकि आई बिकम अ वैम्पायर. इतना सोचा है उसने.
Yeah.
That kind of a crazy guy. This director knows this guy for a very long time, like 10-20 years से उसको जानता है.
Okay.
And even though he had to take like an American guy, I think Netflix के साथ कर रहा था, तो वो लोग को एक अमेरिकन बंदा चाहिए था to sell it. So I think Dominic Purcell को वो लोग ने लिया, वो अपना Prison Break वाला
Prison Break.
बंदा है.
Yeah.
Prison Break वाला जो बंदा है. So they took him. But ये I think the main character वही था, Alexander Shear. And that guy is given like a nice role. उसने over the top psychotic kind of अच्छा किया है, time pass किया है. There were a couple of terrorists who were like कि ये क्यों तुम इसको मार रहे हो वगैरह. I don't know what is their final plan. They wanted to crash it anyway. I thought they wanted to crash it and kill anyone. तो वो फिर वो question mark उसके दूसरे बंदे के दिमाग में क्यों आ रहा था कि why are you killing?
Correct.
Why are you shooting?
Correct. So that's what putting the whole angle of morality in a film, which is you either select to be a slasher flick or you select to be out and out serious horror film. But in both ends, you have to kind of select where do you want to be. This was like you were saying, it's complete mix.
I had fun. If I start digging like I said, फिर starting में देखा जाए तो ज्यादा सोचना नहीं है पिक्चर में, but अगर सोचो तो ये सब पॉइंट्स आते हैं दिमाग में, like you can't stop yourself from thinking, but why?
Did you feel for a moment that this film was shot so well? The lighting, the framing, even when the soldiers kind of enter the aeroplane, and
that was nice.
The way I think the editing, the way it's shot. So I'm sure these guys were serious about what they were doing. Like they had gone. So that's what full marks for them to kind of treat this with complete sincerity. But I don't know what they were trying to achieve with this.
But ठीक है, I mean, I think the film worked because it is like Netflix's most successful German film till date. It has a lot of views, so it is actually a hit in terms of its performance. And I think they have left it a little open in the end for a sequel, because वो लोग ऐसे, you see the vampires running out of the plane and then it explodes, और उसके बाद you don't finally see whether mother has died or someone has escaped. Like I am wondering कि हो सकता है कि अगर कोई एक बंदा escape कर गया suppose, and maybe then the disease spreads like Blood Red Sky part 2 में, and this kid now grows up to be a teenager or whatever, who is like a vampire killer or something like that. वैसा करके कुछ हो सकता है पार्ट 2. और एक और चीज रे, स्टार्टिंग में दिखाता है कि वो एक डॉक्टर से बात कर रही है, राइट? सो आई थिंक देयर इज अ क्योर. सो शी स्पोकन टू समवन इन द यूएस हु हैज अ क्योर फॉर दिस. तो सीरियसली अपने को पता करना है सेकेंड पार्ट में कि भाई ये है क्या, क्योर क्या है, वो डॉक्टर कौन था और उसके पास क्योर है भी कि नहीं. तो मे बी दिस kid who grows up to be a vampire killer goes to that doctor and gets the cure.
Correct. I at some point in the film I really thought that the kid would have gotten bitten at some point. And I thought that would continue, or maybe the Arab guy who was taking care of the kid, he would have been bitten.
वो Arab guy का one like WTF moment again. पहले तो अरब गाय, मतलब मेरे को समझा नहीं क्या टाइप का वो बंदा है बॉस. पहले तो सबको सेव भी करता है, उसके बाद ही वॉचेस दिस वुमन टर्न इनटू अ वैम्पायर एंड देन आल्सो ही इज लाइक ओके आई विल गो टुवर्ड्स हर ऐसे करके. उसके बाद उसका हाथ काट देते हैं बॉस.
I have a question there. I have a question. His hand was cut. Okay. How did they handcuff him? When they took him out of the aircraft, and the main guy in the tower, he radios the people and says, remove his handcuffs.
Did he?
And the soldier comes and he removes his handcuff, and it's such a funny scene. If you just pause that scene there and if you see, He doesn't have a hand. What? How did you handcuff him?
This is funny, man. I did notice it, but this is really funny. ये सही है. मतलब ठाकुर को तुम कैसे हैंडकफ पहनाओगे? Oh. So yeah, I mean it's a fun ride. I mean I think that is why it is like the most successful German film. And I think जो भी premise को देखता है एक बार तो देखना चाहेगा. Like वही होता है ना कि when there is gore, there is vampire, people really don't think about logic too much. ठीक है देखते हैं यार टाइम पास है. तो वैसे व्यूअरशिप में काफी मस्त चल गया है. And I'm hoping for a sequel, and that is my storyline for it. Maybe it will come. Arab guy का I don't know what happens to him, but yeah, he could become like a vampire. मतलब वो basically figure out करता है कहाँ से क्या. He's a strategy guy, and this is the teenager is the killer, vampire killer.
Whatever happens, hopefully he grows a hand. I think then.
नहीं वो तो bionic hand or whatever. I think like कुछ तो हो जाएगा. वो तो सब I mean futuristic होगा ना film. हाँ. कुछ ना कुछ तो बन ही जाएगा उसमें. ये hostage films का देखा जाए तो any favorites in that regard? Did you watch Neerja by any chance? I don't know.
Yeah, I have. It was nice. It was a tight film, but as per popular opinion that Sonam was really good. I did not think her performance was great, but the film was tight. Like it was good.
On the same incident, there is a film released for Akshay Kumar. Of Akshay Kumar, Bell Bottom. Bell
Bottom. I don't wish to find out. Anything to do with Ajay Devgan and Akshay Kumar, I can't stand them on screen. Ajay Devgan भी तो भूत जाई ना एक of some
that
martyr.
Is ridiculously bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But talking about hostage films, मैं 90s में एक दो फिल्म निकले जो which were like fun, which was एक तो Air Force One था and the other one was Executive Decision. उसमें तो मतलब वो तो killer था. उसमें ऐसा था कि hostage होता है and then there is this guy Kurt Russell or someone, वो एक टीम कमांडो टीम के साथ जाता है और they are in this whole a special kind of an aircraft which cannot be detected by sonar and radar and all of that. और फिर वो नीचे जाके plane वो actually commercial airliner के नीचे जाके it attaches itself to the commercial airliner and they go through a tunnel to that plane. अरे क्या killer picture था यार. मस्त picture था वो.
My all-time favorite hostage film has to be Inside Man. Spike Lee.
Oh yes. So yeah, not hostage film बोलेगा तो yes. Not a flight hostage, but hostage film.
हाँ, not a flight hostage. It's not a flight hostage film.
Yeah. But Inside Man का मतलब my favorite memory is when I went to the theater.
हाँ.
And starting में वो छैया चालू हो जाता है.
Exactly. Yes.
And I was like, ये किसी का रिंगटोन बज रहा है क्या हो क्या रहा है. And बाद में पता चला ये तो पिक्चर में.
And Spike Lee was at his best, I think, when he made Inside Man, and it's such a nice film.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorites.
So I think we've covered most of what we wanted to discuss, and I think a lot of people should just watch this film and not take it too seriously, like we said. Even genre enthusiasts should tell us probably what do they think कि second part में हो क्या सकता है. If they can like think of some interesting plots, do send us some comments and let us know what do you think.
Yeah, 100%. And pray for the Arab guy to come back in the sequel.
With a new hand.
Yeah.
Cool. Then do leave us your comments and do follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and of course on our Spotify channel. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.